The following program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
Welcome to yet another episode of The Grind with me, your host, Hibak Saeed. This week, we're going to be highlighting some businesses that usually thrive in January. When you think January, you think going back to school. So what are some of the businesses and what are some of the entrepreneurs that are making the most from this month, and how do they survive for the rest of the months as the seasons progress? We go to our very first entrepreneur of the week. Right, and as we hinted at earlier, we're talking back to school business. What is back to school business? When you think about back to school, you think uniforms and you think stationery and books. But first, we're going to be delving into the uniform business. If you could just start by introducing yourself. What is your name? What is the uniform business like? What do you do in a day?
My name is Darius Mugambi. I work for Weaver Garments Manufacturers Limited. We deal with school uniforms. In fact, we produce uniform. We have a factory in Thika. Yes.
It's a very lucrative business when it comes to January. A lot of parents are going to buy new school uniform. Kids magically grow around December. What would you say that you do? What are the steps that you take when January is approaching for this business?
What I will say about that is that uniform, of course, production, it's not a one-day event. We prepare the whole year because there are different schools, many schools which have require school uniforms. So it's a long process. So before we get to January, you'll find that we've done enough production to stock out our shops. We have different shops around the country.
So production of school uniform, there are different schools, maybe different schools need different materials. What would you say about production?
Production, as I've said, it's not a one-day event, and we have many schools in the country, and each and every school has a different type, color, shade of uniform. And so mostly we liaise with the schools to at least know the shades, the color, and so that we can produce enough school uniforms and stock them in our shops. Yes.
And speaking of producing your own uniform, recently, before laws and policies were changed, schools used to make their own uniforms. Before this particular January in other years, did you used to take the uniform that you make to those schools directly? Because I'm seeing now that there are a lot of customers coming in.
Things have changed, and recently there were some government policies that were put in place, and that said that parents should buy uniform from their liberty. But for us, I don't think it's really working well, because the parents that we get to see, of course, our customers, they are really complaining. They are saying, what's up? Before then, they were getting uniform in schools. So it's a very tedious process for a parent. And for us as business people, you'll find with the mass production of those school uniforms that we were supposed to take to schools. Of course, we had orders, yes, in the various schools, many schools. So for us, still it's a big challenge to us, because now we have to market ourselves, sell from the shops, of which I don't think some are working, but it will take time. But we're still asking the government to allow parents to get school uniforms from the school. Yeah.
Parents are moving from whatever counties they were at, and now they're moving maybe even to the capital to find the uniforms that they needed. In this regard, what would you say is the difference between just being a supplier who takes it to the school and selling them from your shops?
One thing, supplying uniforms in the school, it's a bit cheaper compared to getting them from the shop. One, in the shops, we have all those stories of VAT and whatever, all those stories. And then in the shop, a parent has to travel all the way from Bomet to come and get a school uniform from town, Nairobi town. So you will find it's kind of expensive for the parent. Yeah, so the school way is the cheapest.
Now there's a lot of foot traffic right now. I think a lot of us have seen that there are lines outside, uniform shops coming this January, which is something that we usually don't see a lot of. What would you say are maybe some of the advantages and disadvantages of having so many customers at once?
Advantage, of course, there's a good business, but then having a lot of customers queuing here and there is still tiresome, getting shades and colors of all those schools. But the good thing with our company, we've stocked our school uniforms for different schools in a very arranged manner in our shops, in a way that if a parent comes from Alliance High School, you just go get them and sell to him or her.
Let's compare a little bit. Of course, last January was very different from this January. There are a lot of, tax differences. There are policy changes. What would you say the business was like last year, and what is it like right now?
Right now, as I've said, it's quite challenging, but we're trying to cope. But previously, the business was good because, supplying to school, we're selling to our students. And now, letting the parent to come in the shop, the parent has the liberty to go anywhere he or she wants. Yeah, so I think right now we are not at a good place. Yes, that is why we're still insisting for the government to allow parents and even the suppliers to take the uniform to school.
Right.
Yeah.
And the economic times are a bit hard as well.
Yeah.
Right now, of course, a lot of parents coming in want discounts. It was December last month. A lot of people spent a lot of money, going home and buying supplies for home and kusherekea, as we know it. Right now, do you guys have discounts specially made for January season, considering this is your peak season?
Yeah, of course you have to, for you to relate with the customer well, of course you have to discount them. So when you sell the uniform, of course you have to give a discount to them so that they will come next time and they can refer us to other people.
Yeah. Right. And it's good also to have customer relations in this sense. Now this is peak season, right? January is when you have most of your customers. But then there are times where you probably won't have as many customers coming in. What do you do as a business to sustain yourselves during those seasons?
As you've said, we are having many customers right now, right? And so the uniform business mostly is at peak from December, January, and some part of Feb. So whatever we get on those 3 months, that is what we try and manage ourselves all through the year. Yeah.
Now, when we talk uniform, we're not just talking school uniform. There's also the corporate aspect, Even you right now, you're wearing a corporate shirt that has to be made by some sort of uniform supplier. What would you say your relationship is like in the corporate world when you're dealing with businesses who are buying such uniforms?
Yes, that's true that we don't only deal with school uniforms. We have other garments that we manufacture, corporate uniforms, staff uniforms, security uniforms. So still within those other months, we have quite enough machines that are able to produce those corporate staff uniforms. So we have business with other corporate units that we do all along. Yes.
And even when you're talking about school uniform and corporate uniforms, there are things that are best sellers. Maybe your socks, sweaters, when you're thinking skirts. What do you think is usually your best seller? What do people like buying?
Mostly, our main product is school uniform. That is that goes so much. Yes, others, majorly it's school uniforms. Yes, the majority of our customers and our product, school uniforms. Others nyingine kidogo. Yeah.
Different garments, maybe people, do they buy socks more? Do they buy sweaters more? Do they buy trousers and shorts more, skirts?
On that, a student has to go to school with a full set.
Right.
So that one you cannot say it's socks, shirt, trousers. It's a full set. Yeah, from shirt to even shoes. Yeah, so tunauza kila kitu.
Right. For every business, there are usually, things that are the perks of having that business when you compare it to other businesses, and there are the disadvantages. Could you just maybe take us through some of the advantages of your business?
One of the advantages of our business is that for us, we have a wide range of production, and as I've said, apart from school uniforms, unapata tunatengeneza other stuff like kikois, those Masai sheets. We have also opening of schools and closing of schools. Still have still a big sale. Yeah, and for us we have enough machines to do that because we have a very big factory at Thika that does that. Yeah, so and when you produce something from scratch, that means the cost of production would be slightly lower, other than even importing or buying from a wholesaler. So that's why you'll find our prices are very favorable, because as we produce, yes, from scratch, the final product.
Right.
Yeah.
And the government is pushing the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya agenda. You guys are producers already. There are a lot of manufacturing perks that come from, deciding to make your own goods and then afterwards selling them. When it comes to disadvantages, your competitors, or rather the people who are within your field, maybe people who sell normal clothes, what would you say are the disadvantages in comparison to these other people?
When it comes to disadvantages, having a peak and off-peak seasons, that is one of the disadvantages, because there are some of the time that we don't sell because there are no the back-to-school thing. So it's a quite challenge to maintain that all through. And for a business, you have to wait. You have to when I certify you as my customer right now, you expect the same person come next year.
Right.
And so to maintain all that 1 year, you paying workers, you paying rent, you paying all those things, it's quite expensive. So maintaining, it's quite a challenge. Then still, I'll say competition is high, but on our side, our marketing department is top notch. So that is where we beat them at off, yeah.
And of course, now that we're starting to wrap this up, the very final question I'll ask you, it's January 2024. A lot of businesses have made their own plans. What would you say is top of that list for you guys?
Well, for us, we are into improving our production and ensuring that we are able to meet the demands of the market, to ensure that we are able to produce more that we did last year, and have even other suppliers come and buy from us. Yes, and lastly is to ask the government to consider our because the government all through has been, like you said, Buy
Kenya, Build Kenya.
Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. So we are asking the government, since it is into promoting local manufacturers and SMEs, to look into that matter.
Right.
Because the moment now you try have some restrictions here and there, it's like it's trying to kill the local manufacturers. And as a country, I think one way we can drive and grow is through improving local manufacturing and stop the importing thing. Yes, and have our own.
Right, which is very important. Those are the sentiments of our entrepreneur of the day. We have two entrepreneurs this particular episode. Our first entrepreneur is in the uniform business. We've deep dived into it. We're going to be telling you next about books, textbooks to be very specific, and stationery, because we're thinking about going back to school. It's January. What exactly that means, we go for a very short break. We'll be right back.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haiishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before.
What's making the headlines?
Welcome back to The Grind with me, your host, Hibak Said. Before we went on a very short break, we were looking at businesses that thrive during January, and more specifically, businesses that thrive when we're going back to school. What are some of the businesses that we look at in this aspect? First, we went through the uniform business. We give you tidbits on what's going on over there, what they do when they're not in peak season. And now we're going to be looking at stationaries and books. Bookshops are on the rage in January. How exactly are they faring on? You can start by introducing yourself. What is your name? What is the bookshop business like?
My name is Catherine Duta. I work at Joshi Enterprises, Joshi Bookshop. Right now we are at the peak season. We are very busy right now. Going back to school, joining children joining the next class, and Form 1 joining Form 1. Yes.
When this new education system came in, the CBC system, there was a lot of textbooks involved. When we transitioned from 844 to CBC, was this a time that you guys took up this business even more?
First of all, we had losses because we had old stock from the previous curriculum. That is grade 1 to 3. But also, we had very good supplies to schools that wanted now to transition. Yeah.
So what did you do with your old stock?
Some we discarded to the tissue makers, and some we gave out to children's homes, and some we supplied to South Sudan. Yeah.
So a lot of it went into recycling. Yes. Now, during January, you get a lot of people. There's a lot of foot traffic. You have lines outside of bookshops. How do you deal with this? How do you handle your customers when they come in large batches?
We have enough staff, first of all. We also have our online platform that we have, that now we allow customers to send their orders. We have people that work 24 hours. Like we have 2 shifts, during the day and at night. So those people that, we have customers that are outside Nairobi, so we process their orders at night and send them. So during the day we focus on the walk-in customers and also the online customers.
Let's do a little comparison here. Of course, there's this January, of course, there are a lot of sales at this particular time, but last year, you also had the situation going on. Could you just compare it for us? What are some of the differences you've seen?
This year there's better business compared to last year, but things are very expensive, especially photocopying papers are very expensive, as in everything went up. So, but parents are investing in their children, so they're still coming. Yeah.
And when you talk about parents investing in their children, most of the time when your customers come, they don't understand that there's new taxation that's coming in. There's a lot of supply chain problems that comes in. And of course, the prices are going to go up. During this time, how do you make it, how do you explain it to your customers that there are price changes?
From school, when you're given your book list, you're prepared because the book list have prices. So when you come to the bookshop, we just explain. This book have gone up with 15% because we have taxation, you explain to the customer and most of them understand. Yeah.
Do you maybe have special discounts during this time?
Yeah, we give very good discounts. We also give good services like covering. We cover for them. We also deliver to them. So wengine wanafunganga macho tu.
What are some of the products that are best-selling products for you? There are a lot of books, of course, but what are some of the things that usually move fast?
Fast moving are Bibles, the primary and secondary. We have dictionaries and kamusis and encyclopedias, the revision books. Yeah. Set books, sorry.
Right. So you have set books, you have Bibles, you have encyclopedias. Why do you think usually these things go more?
Because every year the child needs them. That is a basic necessity for them, yeah.
So January is usually a peak season. Of course, there are seasons when the sales usually dip. Could you just maybe do a comparison for us? What are some of the seasons where this business thrives? And when it's not thriving, what do you guys do to maintain whatever sales you have?
In January, we have very good sales, like you said. When we do not have, we're not in season, we supply to schools. We also have revision and we sell stationery to offices. Yeah, and supply to schools.
Maybe do a comparison. When it comes to your corporate selling, your corporate business, and when it comes to your school business, which one thrives more? And which one is the customer category that maybe works better for you?
When you're selling to corporate, you mostly sell stationery. But in school, dealing with schools, you have so many things. You also have stationery, but also there are books, there are encyclopedias, there are Bibles, there are stationery also. So it's more wide in school than in corporate, and it's better in schools. Yeah.
You've said some of the things that you offer to your customers so that they come in more is covering their books. When it comes to corporates, a lot of corporates want their pens, their bios, their books branded. Do you guys do that, and how exactly does that bring more customers to you?
We have not started branding yet, but we supply to them, to their offices, yes. Yeah.
Do you maybe have products that you guys make? And if not, do you have supply chain issues that you usually deal with?
No, we don't have any brand that we mostly focus on school, but the corporate is when the business is not as much.
How many branches do you guys have, and how does that help you reach out to some of your customers?
We have 4 branches. We have 2 in town and 2 in Katundo. The ones that in town, they are centralized, so everybody can come here. But the ones in Katundo, we focus on the schools that are around, and also the parents that take their children in academies. Yeah.
Now, when you were talking about these branches and when you're trying to strategize as a business on how you're going to reach out to your clients and to your customers, do you maybe feel like your online business is an extension? And have you thought of maybe other branches in other counties?
In other counties, we've not really thought about it, but branches around Nairobi, we definitely thought about. We are thinking about it very much. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to your plans as a business, of course, you have to have your plans for the year. What are some of the plans that goes on behind, a bookshop, running a bookshop? What are some of the plans that you have for this year, maybe?
This year we are really planning on going big on social media and online sales. Basically, we are really focusing on that. Yeah.
When it comes to strategizing and marketing, what are some of the work that you have put behind it? Do you have maybe social media managers? What is going on behind this marketing strategy?
We have a social media manager. Also, we have a team that goes around the country for marketing. Yeah.
The marketing team that goes around the country, what exactly do they do? They
go to bookshops. Mostly we go to bookshops and we go to schools. But within Nairobi, outside Nairobi, we mostly deal with bookshops. Yeah.
And maybe, is there any other affiliate business that you guys are thinking of that's not bookshop in other times of the year?
Yeah, we do farming.
Farming? Yes. Farming and bookshop.
We do farming. Yes, we do farming. We do farming in Katondo. Yeah.
Right, for any of the grinders who are looking at this business and they're thinking of venturing into this business, could you maybe just tell us what exactly should they be looking into? What are maybe the starting points of this business?
Vitabu zingine zina kama vile kulikuwa na hiyo komiti ya CBC ilistopisha vitabu zingine ama ilipunguza the courses that were being done. So unaona ulikuwa na hizo vitabu already. So unaona umeenda lost kwa sababu first of all you're not supplying to schools and the only people that are coming to buy are walk-ins. When you're setting up a business, you have to also consider that the government policies will change, will affect the business also. But it is a very good business if you have the right target. You also have the right location.
And when they're starting this business, maybe could you give them guidelines on the documentation processing? Do you guys maybe go for special documentation since this is a product that you guys are selling?
You need the licenses, the city council license that you go to get at the city council. The price of the license depends on the size of business and the things that you're going to stock on there, and also the diversity of the business. Number two, you need, if you're going to take your supplies direct from the publishers, you need the distributors certificate. But you can also take when you're starting, you start off going to the other wholesalers so that they can guide you on what to stock and what moves fast and at what time, what season. Yeah.
Right. And maybe a parting shot to grinders who are watching this, what would you tell them now that they're starting off 2024?
You don't get things for free here. You have to work for it. If you want to get something good in life, you have to really work for it. Also, if you're looking to start a business, it is a good venture to go into to self-employment. So don't give up.
And that's the parting shot, of course, of our second entrepreneur of today. She's telling you need to work hard and, of course, don't give up.